All right, everyone grab a seat, settle in. Welcome to Level 3 Clearance. Please pay very close attention to this explainer today. For those who don't know me, I'm Dr. Damian Wolf. I've got my coffee, I am fully wired. You've all just been assigned to Mobile Task Force Zeta-1000, and it's my job to make sure you actually understand the Keter-class reality you're walking right into.
So why does the Foundation want you to laugh at Bigfoot? It's a great question, right? Listen, I've sat across the table from anomalies that would freeze Dr. Gear's blood absolutely solid. I've worked alongside absolute legends. Dr. Sinclair, Dr. Harleen, Theron Sherman, Raymond Ham, well, before the whole 049 incident. But the truth behind this specific media joke, it is uniquely terrifying. And it's something every single operative here needs to fundamentally understand.
Okay, so before we get into the absolute nightmare of it all, we have to start with the cover story. This is the clinical, highly sanitized data we feed to lower-level researchers just so they don't lose sleep at night. I'll run through this part quickly. Basically, we tell them SCP-1000 is just a nocturnal, omnivorous ape. Physically, we're talking up to 270 kilos with a pronounced sagittal crest, so an evolutionary branch entirely distinct from modern human biology. We claim their intelligence is exactly on par with your average common chimpanzee, and that some random extinction event, 10 to 15,000 years ago, just wiped most of them out. But guys, that is literally just the tip of the iceberg.
To keep people away, we tell a massive lie. We claim there's this anomalous pseudo-disease called SCP-1000-F1. The official file explicitly says that just looking at one of these creatures gives you a minimum 2% chance of instant brain death, and that chance stacks the longer you look at them. Essentially, a magical death aura.
Okay, let's dive into this and rip away the curtain. Just look at the stark contrast here. On one hand, the Level 1 cover story pushes this whole narrative of chimp intelligence and a highly contagious Keter-level death disease. But the Level 3 truth? They possess absolutely no anomalous disease whatsoever, zero death aura. And their intelligence, they aren't chimp smart. They are exactly as smart as modern humans. And that is exactly what makes them so incredibly dangerous.
Now we're getting into the real history and honestly, the massive web of lies the Foundation has heavily funded to keep you and the entire public completely in the dark. Director Jones wrote this himself, and I quote, "You think Bigfoot is funny because we want you to think Bigfoot is funny. We manipulated global media, we bankrolled Hollywood comedies, paid off guys in gorilla suits, we took a species that is just as smart as we are and turned them into a punchline. Personally, I find this level of systemic deception dangerously arrogant. By treating them as a joke, we've lulled ourselves into this false sense of security over an actual apex rival."
Just look at the year 1958. That is the exact year the Foundation deliberately planted the term Bigfoot into the mainstream media. We engineered that specific moniker because human psychology basically dictates that the public would find the word Bigfoot even harder to take seriously than Sasquatch. It's a psychological containment procedure. And honestly, it has worked flawlessly. Until now anyway.
So, here's the timeline. SCP-1000 evolved right alongside us, Homo sapiens, during the Pleistocene era. But while we walked in the daylight as wandering hunter-gatherers, they walked in the nighttime. Then, roughly 15,000 years ago, things changed. They discovered tools, agriculture, stable settlements. While humanity was basically just blinking in the sun, their population absolutely exploded across the night into the tens of billions. But exactly 10,000 years ago, an event called the Day of Flowers wiped out 70% of them. Boom, gone. Today, they're mostly restricted to the Pacific Northwest and the Himalayas. So you're probably wondering, what exactly happened?
To understand their fall, you really have to understand their peak. And their peak was mind-blowing. While human technology relies on, metal, silicon, combustion, SCP-1000 mastered genetic manipulation on a molecular level. They literally converted living matter into mechanical devices. By selectively breeding and gene splicing, they grew trees and birds of prey into fast-moving ships. They engineered insects to function basically like our modern cellular phones and computers. They didn't build concrete cities, they grew vast, shining skyships out of ivory and spider silk, tended to by creatures with hundreds of blinking eyes. It's crazy. They were the greatest civilization this planet had ever seen. And us, we were just rare wild animals to them, kept in conservatories or just avoided entirely.
This is where I drop the cheerful demeanor, guys. Let me just grab another sip of coffee, because what I'm about to tell you is arguably the darkest day in the entire history of planet Earth. We instigated an SK-class dominance shift. I really want everyone to understand this definition. It's a catastrophic scenario where one species completely usurps the dominant role over another, effectively replacing them. We violently stole the throne of Earth from our nocturnal siblings.
70%. Out of tens of billions of highly advanced, intelligent beings, humanity wiped out 70% of SCP-1000's total population in a single day.
But the really crucial point here is that we didn't just stop at genocide. The ethical reality is far, far more horrific. Using the most twisted of SCP-1000's own biological devices, our ancestors drove the survivors entirely mad. We blocked their higher brain functions, we literally trapped them in their own minds, leaving their bodies to fend for themselves as the wild 1.5 to 3 meter tall apes we see today. We burned their shining cities to dust, used a weapon to wipe our own memories of the whole event, and just went right back to being hunter-gatherers.
All right, that brings us out of the past and into how the Foundation actually manages this fallout today. Tactically speaking, Mobile Task Force Zeta-1000 utilizes Procedure 516 Lumina. It's a specialized sonic deterrent designed to keep the surviving 8 populations instinctively away from human centers. But I really have to warn you, these old static methods must evolve, and they need to evolve immediately. If any staff member ever encounters an instance in the wild, standard engagement is completely forbidden. For your critical security protocols, you are to maintain distance, initiate silent observation, and deploy immediate localized amnestics. Period. The Foundation has been completely ruthless about this. We've acquired SCP-1000's surviving organic tech, repurposing it to reinforce our own secure containment networks. Think about that. We are literally using their stolen tools to keep them locked away. Naturally, this information is strictly restricted to Level 4/1000 or Director Jones's direct approval. Oh, and there's an unnumbered black box anomaly anchored right underneath the structure, which is entirely vital to maintaining this fragile containment.
I need you all to listen very closely to this part. The effects of the genetic madness, those blocks we put on their higher brain functions, they are wearing off. The recent sightings are increasing for a very specific reason. SCP-1000 instances are actively developing calculated resistance to our sonic containment. They are regaining their forgotten human-level intelligence, and that intelligence is exactly what makes them a major modern threat. They aren't acting on animal instinct anymore. They are acting on strategic, calculated malice. If a highly intelligent species that we systematically genocided finally remembers exactly what we did to them, we face an existential risk unlike anything else in our entire database. Because of this intelligence resurgence, your field survival protocols are absolutely non-negotiable. Memorize these steps. 1. You will investigate every alleged sighting, no matter how trivial or silly it seems. 2. Retrieve all physical evidence, hair, prints, technology, and replace them immediately with decoy items. 3. Any civilian who gets too close must be discredited or administered amnestics. And 4. Absolutely no unauthorized contact is allowed. If you see them interacting with any human, you report it to Director Jones immediately. A single containment failure in a major population center could literally trigger an end-of-the-world scenario.
And I want to leave you with this final thought. What I'm telling you isn't a theory. This is a recently translated English message, received directly from an SCP-1000 contact attempt. Quote, "We forgive you. Given choice for now, not forever, let us back in. We slaughtered billions of them. We stole their world, destroyed their minds, and turned them into a global punchline. But they are just as smart as us, and they are waking up. So ask yourselves, if global containment fails, how long do you really think that forgiveness will last?" Dismissed.